At the age of 13, I was drugged and I was raped by 3 guys. They kept whispering back and forth and acting weird, and they're all laughing, and I start to drink my drink, and it took about 5 minutes, about 5 to 10 minutes. I was sitting there and all my limbs of my body just went numb. I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. And they ended up taking turns raping me, and they ended up leaving me laying there. I was conscious and I knew what happened. I knew what was going on, but I couldn't scream, I couldn't talk, I couldn't move. After that rape, I was so filled with guilt and shame and unworthiness. I didn't think that I would ever be good enough for anybody good, and I ended up becoming a meth addict at 14. I spent a year in a group home, and it helped. So I stayed sober for about 10 years. So I ended up having an affair and cheating on my husband, and ended up having a child with the other man, and that relationship was very toxic. He was a meth addict, and he wanted me to do it so that I could stay awake all hours of the night to help him with his criminal activity, which was burglarizing people's homes. And I actually did it. I was just the driver. We got caught one day, and we had a high-speed chase from the police with my kids in the car. When he went to jail, I thought that everything was going to be okay, that I was going to be able to be a mother. I was going to be able to be normal again. But that's not what happened. At first, it was just smoking meth and snorting it, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't numbing the pain. It wasn't keeping me high like I wanted to be high. So I eventually injected meth. And I have to say that that's when my life spiraled really out of control. I was doing terrible things to good people. I would take the broken and addicted girls that I knew, and I would trade them to dangerous, violent drug dealers, just so that I could get high. And I remember I just started crying. And at that moment, I cried to God. I said, God, please don't let me die like this. Please save me. I don't want my children to know that their mother died being a drug addict. I don't want to die this way. It was about 2 weeks later. I had to go to court over some criminal charges. They asked me if I wanted help. And that's whenever I raised both my sleeves and showed them my arms. And they looked down at my arms, and they were just bruised from the wrist almost up to the shoulder. They were, the veins were just blown, had knots all over them. They were black and blue, and it was a terrible sight. And I just cried, and I said, please help me. I need help. And they said, okay. And so they put me in jail, and I had to stay in jail for 2 months while I waited on them to find me a place. And during that time, I remember I went into that cell and I dropped to my knees. And that's whenever I surrendered. And I began to develop my relationship with Jesus. And they had ended up finding women at the well. And my life hasn't been the same. They loved me when I was unlovable. They loved me when I didn't love myself. It's awesome that the Lord, He loves us so much that He meets us right where we're at. But He's so gracious and He's so merciful that He won't leave us there. And it's awesome that He trades beauty for ashes.
How great the love of Jesus Christ. Upon the cross of Calvary, the blood was shed that pardons me. No longer bound, no